Another wonderful morning here. Physical and financial fitness with Patrick. And what we're going to do is show you, excuse me, show you sort of the foggy sunrise here in San Diego, California. Beautiful view, but it's supposed to be getting some rain. And so you can see the clouds up there. And it's supposed to be a little chillier and get some rain here, excuse me, in San Diego the next couple of days. And so, time to hunker down and get some work done. But today we're going to be talking about non-performing notes. I can get this garbage off of me now that it's a little chilly outside. If you can believe that it's chilly in San Diego. But a little chilly. We're going to do some legs today for the physical part of this live call. So if you like to work out with me, it's the greatest day ever today, which is leg day. No, it's my least favorite day, but it's got to be done. If you're going to do your biceps and your triceps and your pectoralis muscles and all that crazy stuff, you got to do your legs. Am I right or wrong? Hey, Andy. Sunny here and 50 degrees today. That's really great, man. It's going to be like, I think in the 50s and 60s in San Diego for like the next week. We're going to be getting some rain as well, which I don't like because I'm an outdoorsy kind of guy. I like to golf and all those good things, and that's just not my ball of wax. I'm a sunshine kid. But what we're going to do is we're going to work some legs today, even though I strained my left quad. Excuse me. I have something in my throat today. My left quad. Oh, you want to live? You live on a golf course, Andy? I didn't know you lived on a golf course. Andy Woodward said he lives on a golf course. That's unbelievable. I wish I lived on a golf course. As a matter of fact, I don't wish I lived on a golf course because I would never do anything else except for be out on that golf course. And so I would probably lose my business. My family would hate me. I can't live on a golf course. Probably not a good thing for me. But I didn't know you lived on a golf course, Andy. That's pretty cool. But, we're going to talk about non-performing notes today. So we're going to do some legs because it's leg day, which I don't know how good I'm going to do because I did actually strain my left quad. I thought I pulled it. I strained my left quad yesterday playing pickleball, of all things. But today what we'll do is we'll hit some legs. We'll do some stretching. And whatever it is you're doing, I know that Andy Woodward wanted to do some stretching. Andy Woodward was talking about his shoulder, and he's having a problem having to go to the doctor and maybe work out his shoulder issues. And I told him, why don't you work out with me in the mornings? Why don't you stretch with me in the mornings virtually? So get your body moving. That's one of the reasons why people would come to my live, is just to get your body moving in the morning. And secondly, we talk about finance and how to create financial freedom outside of the normal ways that people do. So we're talking about outside of traditional real estate and outside of the ponds that are filled with so many fish that it's hard to compete with people today in this real estate space and become financially free with wholesaling and all this other stuff where, everybody and their brother's doing it. So we're going to go a little bit away from that. I'm going to talk to you guys today during leg day, which I don't like as much as I should, but during leg day today, while we do some squats and we do some things like that, and lunges and all that, we're going to talk about non-performing mortgage notes. It's outside the norm. First of all, you guys, most people don't even know that you can invest by buying someone else's mortgage rather than buying another physical property and acting as a landlord to collect rent with all those landlord headaches. Banks don't own rental properties. We end up, stacking doors. We want to go out there and own a bunch of rental properties and deal with all those tenants and all the issues and chasing rents and all that stuff. So we instead buy paper. We buy the loans or the mortgages that are collateralized by these properties. So we kind of like to act like a bank. But first of all, most people don't even know you can own someone's mortgage. and collect cash flow by way of mortgage payment versus collecting cash flow monthly as a landlord. Because, you're either collecting someone's mortgage payment who's living there as a homeowner, or you can collect someone's rent payment who's living there as a renter. And there's a difference, right? So we collect mortgage payments. We buy mortgage notes. That's what I speak about a lot here. But did you know you can buy non-performing notes? Okay, so you can go buy a mortgage note on the secondary mortgage market that's already delinquent. And in the mortgage space, you have to be more. Yeah, it definitely punked me. That's a bummer. All right, well, we're going to figure it out. We are going to figure it out. YouTube messing with me. Okay, back. Okay. It still shows that there are 0 participants in here. There it shows 1. Okay, well, you're back, Andy. Can you hear me? I just sat down to try to figure it out, took my phone off the tripod. So are you good? Good reception, good sound. I don't know why everybody got booted. There was like about 30 people on here for a moment. Oh, you're back. All right, cool. Cool. Well, I do use this screen mirroring, and I do mirror my screen to... I do mirror my screen to be able to see the comments a bit away. So my bad. I don't know if that was it, but someone came on as a live that had a foreign title, and it said good luck. It said good luck. And then all of a sudden my live went down and went haywire. So that was odd, man. I don't know if I just got like hacked. Someone came in to try to punk my live, but it's kind of weird going live like this on YouTube. It's surprising how much technical difficulty there is on YouTube side. And it's also crazy about these trolls and people that I think just have a fun time going to people's lives to ruin them. So I don't know if that's what happened, if it was my connection, if it was YouTube, or if it was, someone purposely coming in to damage my live. I don't know. It's wild. But all right, back to it, guys. I'm going to turn this screen share off, and then that way we know that's not the problem. And of course, guess what else I did? Of course, I kicked that person out by way of moderating. So that's so weird. I don't know if I was hijacked, you guys, if it was bad connection or what, but there was about 30 people on here. Then it went down to 0. Andy, my buddy, texted me, who likes to join me on these lives in the mornings. And he said, hey man, I got kicked out of your live and I couldn't come back in. So I don't know what happened, all right? But anyways, guys, if you're just on, this is Patrick Franz. I'm a fund manager. I come here 6:30 to 8 a.m. to talk fitness and finance. We've been talking a lot of finance lately. We haven't been talking much fitness, but the bottom line is, guys, the reason why this is related with fitness and finance and why I brought it this way to the public is because physical shape and financial shape. If we're in good physical shape and we're in good financial shape, we can have a much better life. One or the other sounds good, but one or the other is definitely not the path to a good life. If you are extraordinarily unhealthy and unfit, but you have a lot of money, you have a fair status because a lot of money gives you status. But if you're unhealthy, you have no energy, you don't get to spend time with your kids, you can't hardly put your own shoes on and those kinds of things, then we have problems, right? And the same thing occurs when, you see the folks that spend all their time in fitness and all their time at the gym and all their time running and all this other stuff, and they're in the best shape ever, but they have no concentration on money or financial intelligence, and therefore they're broke. So you have a super duper fit person who's broke. That's a tough way to do it. And you have a super, super unhealthy person that's rich. It's also a hard way to do it. And so we're trying to find a happy medium. So I want to be your support system here in the morning, 6:30 to 8 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, so that you just have somebody to rely upon to come work out with if the technical difficulties don't ruin my lives. But if I'm here and you're here, we can work out, we can stretch, you can get your body moving, and you start where you start from. Wherever you're at, you can get better. Whatever age you're at, you can get healthier. You can get more flexible. You can get stronger. You can have more energy. So let's do that together in the mornings. Okay. Number one. Number two. Number two is financial intelligence. It's not taught in school. It wasn't taught to our grandparents. It wasn't taught to our parents who couldn't pass it to us. It wasn't taught from our teachers. Financial intelligence is just not something that's taught, guys. A schooling system is designed to churn out worker bees. If you want to be just a worker bee and work for 40 or 50 years of your life, 40 or 50 hours a week, and then retire with nothing and all that, if that's what you think is a good plan, I want you to stick to it. And this is probably not the channel for you. But if you're looking for something better, better financially, more financial freedom, time to do what you want to do in life, and not be stressed about money all the time, not have to go to work for somebody else your whole life just to get a paycheck Friday to pay your bills. So we want to overcome that, guys. So that's what I'm here for, support system for health and wealth. Now, today we're doing legs, which I hate. We're going to get into that after I figure if this live is going to stick with us and not cut out again. But what we're going to do is legs today. Leg day sucks. Being broke sucks. So NJ, hey, NJ, good morning. Pleasure to see you on here. And Purbom, how you doing? Hi. So we're going to just get into it, guys. Legs is terrible, but you got to do legs. If you're going to do your upper body, you got to do your lower body. If you're going to lift weights and get tight, you also got to stretch. So there's a happy medium to all this. I do not like leg day. People who know me know I have a really bad knee. I've got 3 knee surgeries, and I went and tried to play pickleball last night for about hour and a half, 2 hours, and strained my left quad muscle playing pickleball like an old man does. So funny anyway. But we're going to get through these legs. If you guys want to work out with me, fantastic. I'm doing legs today. You don't have to do legs. You don't have to copy my exercises or anything like that. You can do your own exercises. You can do your own stretching. All right? But let's get moving together. And here's what we're going to talk about today, okay? We're going to talk about investing in non-performing notes. Okay, because it's a unique subject. It's quite an interesting subject in the fact that most people don't even know that we can invest into a mortgage note, number one. That's what I specialize in. Number two is most people don't realize you can actually buy or invest into a non-performing mortgage note. Okay, so I'm sure if you guys stick with me, there's going to be a lot of good questions. This is designed to be an open Q&A. Pop into the comments, say hi, say where you're, let me know where you're listening in from or watching from. It's a bit of a colder and rainier day in San Diego outside, but we're here in the nice garage. I got my heater on, and we're going to get right to it, guys. But let's talk non-performing notes. First, did you even know? Alrighty, let's go. Did you know that you could buy a non-performing note? Let's just start there. Did you know that? Did you know that someone is living in the house? You got a homeowner living there. You have a homeowner living in the house, and they have not paid their mortgage in more than 3 months, because in the mortgage note space, right, in a mortgage space, you've got to be more than 90 days behind to be considered delinquent, okay? So let's start there. Do we all know that? Do we all know what happens when you go more than 90 days late on paying your mortgage payment to the bank? Have you guys ever been there? I know I have. I have been there where you start to get those letters from the bank. And what do those letters say? Those letters say, hey, we know you're delinquent on your mortgage. You're not paying your mortgage payment to us that you're supposed to pay. And the bank says, so if you don't get to paying and catch this up, what are they going to do? What does a bank threaten you with if you are late paying your mortgage? What does the bank say? Hey, if you don't catch this up and pay your mortgage, if you don't catch up and pay your mortgage and you're late and delinquent on your mortgage, what does the bank tell you? You start to get a letter in the mail, and the letter says what? Tell me in the comments. What does this letter say you get from the bank when you're late in your mortgage payments? More than 90 days late. Bank sends you a letter, and the letter says what? Put it in the chat. It's fairly simple, but the bank says, hey, if you don't pay us your mortgage and you don't catch up your mortgage and come current, then we're gonna take your house, right? Isn't that what a bank does? It's called a foreclosure action. So a bank or a lender who owns a mortgage, bank or a lender who owns the mortgage is going to say, you better catch up your payments. You better catch up your payments and become current on your mortgage, or what? Or else what? Or else we're going to start a foreclosure action. Okay? So we understand how that goes. Now, if a note is non-performing, meaning some bank, some lending institution, some real estate investor owns someone's mortgage, the homeowner stops paying the mortgage, and it becomes delinquent. There are several different reasons why one of those may be sold, right? One of the reasons may be that the current note holder just doesn't want to go through the time, the effort, and the hassle to try to do a workout with the borrower or go through a foreclosure action or do any of that, and they just want their cash. They want to get their cash and run and go put their money into a different asset. Banks sometimes have to write non-performing debt off of their books and sell it to the secondary market. And so there's all sort of different reasons and ways how we go out there in the secondary mortgage market and find the ability to buy one of these mortgages that's already delinquent but hasn't been foreclosed upon yet. Sometimes it could be in the middle of a foreclosure process already, and we can buy those notes. Okay, so we're going to talk about those non-performing notes today, and we're going to do some legs. So it's going to be a rough one on the legs, but a good one on the mind today, okay? So let's talk about the eye opener, okay? And when I say eye opener, it was one of the notes I bought in the beginning of my note investing career when I started to be an investor full-time in 2018. So I bought this note in 2019, non-performing note. They hadn't been paying their mortgage payment, and the current lender had bought that note in what they call a pool of notes. And so the current owner of that mortgage note had bought this non-performing note as a part of a pool. So they bought, 100 notes in one purchase. And that was one of the notes that was amongst the 100 that they didn't want to deal with. And they figure we'll cash this one out real quick and keep moving forward and let somebody else deal with it. So I bought this non-performing note in Michigan. And this non-performing note in Michigan was already way past 3 months behind. So they were considered legally delinquent. And I bought this non-performing note. And here's the thing. Non-performing notes, because, of course, they're going to take more time. Non-performing notes are going to take more time and energy to deal with. It's going to take work. That's one thing people don't like. Especially in the note space, people in the note space like to collect passive monthly cash flow. That's the beauty of the note space, right? People tend to pay their mortgage payments and it's easy cash flow. But non-performing notes is a whole different story. If you're just joining, we do working out and talk of financial freedom at the same time. So if you're working out with me today to get your body in shape, fantastic. And if you're just listening in and taking some notes because you want to become more financially free, here's one of the ways we do it. It's called non-performing mortgage note buying. Okay, so I bought this non-performing note out in Michigan, of all places. I live in San Diego, California, and I bought this note out in Michigan. It was delinquent, and they owed $64,000 in their primary balance, but their payoff balance, because they hadn't paid their mortgage in some time with all the late fees and everything like that, their payoff balance was up at $115,000. Okay, so their primary balance of their mortgage or their unpaid principal balance was supposed to be $64,000, and it had gone all the way up to $115,000 because of the late fees and the penalties and everything like that. And their house that they were living in was worth $100,000. So the homeowner was caught behind, if you know what I mean. The homeowner was upside down in their property. The homeowner living there now owed the bank $115,000, and their house was only worth $100,000. So do you understand how that makes them upside down in their mortgage? So they were upside down now. They owed more to the bank than what their house was worth. And they were in a bad position, ready to be foreclosed upon. So what I did was I bought that note, and we'll go over the numbers. And I know you guys, I don't have a presentation or a PowerPoint or anything like that to show you, but I want you guys to think of these numbers. These are the actual numbers from the note that I bought, and I'll tell you how it worked out and why this is a great business, not only for us to make money, to achieve financial freedom in a wonderful asset class, but to help people, right? Zig Ziglar said, the more people you help get what they want, the more you're going to get what you want, okay? So we're going to talk about the responsibilities of helping people, giving options to homeowners before foreclosure. All these things are really good for the homeowner, okay? But for us, we can make a mint if we're willing to get some education and learn how to work with these non-performing mortgages. So I bought this note for $37,000 and change, guys. If you're saying right now in your head, well, that must be nice. I don't have $37,000 to buy one of these. Well, most wealthy investors don't use their own money. They use their skills. They use OPM, other people's money. So if you get the skills and the knowledge and you know this asset class, you can leverage other people's money. You don't have to have a bunch of money of your own. It's the skills and the knowledge that hold value. So we got this non-performing note. I got this non-performing note. I paid $37,000 and change for it. They were supposed to owe $64,000. But because they had been so far behind on their mortgage, I think they were more than 2 years behind. That's another one. Your brain is thinking right now, how could somebody be 2 years behind on their mortgage and not be foreclosed on yet? So there's a whole nother one, okay? Wick Vegas, what's up? How you doing? Hello, good morning. So talking non-performing notes, because this is physical and financial fitness, right? So we're getting physical, we're gonna get our bodies in shape, and we're gonna get better with financial intelligence, secondary investments, and I'm gonna help you in these live Q&As so that you maybe can change your life too financially, and you can help people. So anyways, I bought this note for $37,000 and change. They owed $64,000 as their primary balance, but all the late fees and penalties that had added up for these homeowners on their mortgage had put their payoff balance now at $115,000. Their house they were living in was worth $100,000. So you understand, they're upside down. They owe more, $115,000 they owed on their mortgage. Their house is only worth $100,000. They find themselves a bit upside down. And I was able to pick that note up for $37,000. So one of the lessons you'll learn right away is that non-performing notes that are going to require more work and more expertise and more elbow grease and more time and more energy and all that, those non-performing notes like that sell for a deeper discount than a performing note. That's why I was able to buy that note, buy that debt for such a good price, okay? So the people's house is worth $115,000. Excuse me, they owe the bank $115,000. Their house is worth $100,000, which then acts as my collateral, the $100,000 house. And I bought that note for $37,000. So we're in good shape numbers-wise, right? But it's gonna take some work in figuring out of what we can do with this asset. What options do we have to make it profitable for us? But also consider that there's a homeowner living there that obviously has some issues and has gotten themselves in a bad financial position, and we've all been there before. So what can we do? Well, let me give you an idea, guys. There is a couple different things you can do with a non-performing mortgage. Number one is you can do what's called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. This is when, as the bank or the lender, which is the position we're in, is that we reach out to the borrower through our loan servicing company, communicate with the borrower, obviously remind them they're far delinquent, in jeopardy of being foreclosed on, and that process is going to begin shortly. The foreclosure process, that is. So you're letting them know, you're notifying them that foreclosure is imminent, okay? Well, in communicating with the borrower, there was a story there, like all of us have a story. There was a reason why they got so far behind on the mortgage and all that, this family. And so a deed in lieu could be an opportunity for someone in that position to simply sign the house over to the bank voluntarily and then walk away clean without a foreclosure. In this case, it might have been a great idea for this individual because he was upside down. If somebody has a ton of equity and they get themselves in this position, the smartest thing for that homeowner to do is sell the house because there's equity. And if they sell the house and they pocket that money, then they can move to a different place and so on, avoid a foreclosure, have clean credit, and do all that. So, as suspected, these squats are kind of hurting my left quad, so we're doing really light squats and very few of them, but we're gonna get sitting down and doing some other leg exercises so I can really get into this with you because this is very interesting. So stick with me, guys. They are upside down. They owe the bank $115,000. His house is only worth $100,000. So this homeowner didn't have that option to be able to sell their house, avoid a foreclosure, put money in their pocket, move on and that, because they owed the bank more than what they could sell the house for. So they found themselves in a bad position. In that case, rather than foreclose on them, could I offer to that borrower what's called a deed in lieu of foreclosure? It means, hey, you could just deed the house over to the bank voluntarily and walk away clean. No foreclosure, no bad credit, no nothing. So if you're going to want to do that, you could just sign the house over to the bank voluntarily and walk away. Everybody's clean then. But although this homeowner specifically that I'm talking about was upside down, they still did not want to do that because, again, home is where the heart is. They had family. This gentleman had done improvements over the past like 9 years on the property, was fixing it up and all that, and just did not want to just give up the property. He didn't want to do that as an option. Okay. So what I did is I came up with another option. So let's talk about that. Do we have options? And can I be more forgiving? Can I be more forgiving perhaps than a large institution? You know, when one of us makes a phone call to Wells Fargo Bank or something, and we reach out trying to look for some help, and we're just talking to a bank teller or a gatekeeper, and we're never the right person. We're just a number to them, and so they don't care about our story. We're just a number to them. So oftentimes this kind of communication and trying to really help a homeowner doesn't occur from the institutional standpoint. So this is a great thing that we have as an ability, as a note investor, to actually be a lot more helpful to homeowners. Okay, so a deed in lieu of foreclosure would mean that this family would just simply sign their house over to the bank, me, voluntarily, and walk away clean. But they didn't want to do that because they had done improvements. They were still living there. They weren't ready to move. And so they were saying, you know, look, the homeowner living there was saying, look, I don't want to give my house up. Their intent was to try to stay in the house. Okay. So, but they're way behind on their mortgage. They don't have all the money in the world to catch it up and so forth. So what do we do? Okay. Well, there would be cash for keys. Cash for keys is interesting. Cash for keys says that we as the lender can actually help someone financially to be able to sign the house over to the bank and walk away cleanly. Like maybe somebody's got themselves in such a bad financial position that not only are they being foreclosed upon, but they also maybe don't have enough money to go and pay a rental company or buy moving trucks and move their stuff. They don't have enough money to put a small deposit on maybe a new apartment or something to get back on their feet. They just don't even have that money. So interestingly enough, as an option, we have cash for keys, which means that we're going to actually help supplement some money. Basically, we're going to pay them the amount of money, usually, that we would have to pay the foreclosure attorney anyways to foreclose on them. So if I could say to some homeowner and say, listen, we're going to pay $3,500, to a foreclosure attorney anyways, just to foreclose on you. If you don't want a foreclosure on your record and you're having that much financial difficulty, we can help. We can aid as the bank, as the lender. We can give you the $3,500 to help you have the property cleaned out and go elsewhere. Okay. And they sign the house over to us with one of those deed in lieu of foreclosure documents. So they sign the deed over to us. They avoid foreclosure, and we put a little bit of cash in their pocket so they can afford to move and put a deposit on the next place. Oftentimes, that works out really good for both parties. Kind of cool, right? Generally, the Wells Fargos of the world are not throwing cash your way to move out. So cash for keys is just like a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Or, well, what shall I say? It still is a deed in lieu of foreclosure. But what you're doing is you're offering the homeowner financial incentive that may be very helpful at the time for their situation. Financial incentive in order to sign the house over to the bank and move. NJ, what are you saying? My husband was asking if there is a Native American Heritage Center near you. They might be willing to take your donations of the feathers I'm sure you're speaking about. Yeah, I haven't looked into it. NJ, I just came up with it because I was talking to you on the live and you were telling me about being a part of the Indian reservation and all that. And so it just came to my mind for you. I'm not really looking to give away these beautiful tail feathers and such that my father collected over the years. I'm not really looking to give them away. But if it can benefit somebody that supports me and I can help them, then that's what I'd be willing to do, is donate some feathers to a tribe. Otherwise, I want something out of it. If I go to one of these places around here, NJ, they have all the casinos around San Diego. It's like all the casino Indians. So I'd be looking for, a bunch of free weekends, hotel stay at their casino, plus maybe some gambling dollars and fun for the fam or something like that. But no, for you, I would just want to donate. But back onto the subject, guys. So it was a deed in lieu of foreclosure. where somebody could just sign the house over, walk away clean, and some people choose to do that so they don't get a foreclosure on their record. Another one is cash for keys, where we actually offer them cash in order to be able to do that. We offer them some cash incentive to be able to sign the house over to us and walk away clean without a foreclosure, but maybe they don't have enough money to rent a new place or enough money to hire moving trucks and all that, and they wish they could avoid a foreclosure. They wish they could give the house up to the bank and walk away clean, but they have no options. So we can actually help them financially to be able to do that. Okay, so cash for keys is an option. And if those options don't work, it's usually what? A foreclosure, right? Whereas we, as the note investor, would simply be hiring a foreclosure attorney and having the foreclosure attorney go through a foreclosure process on those folks, and eventually they'd be foreclosed upon and perhaps even evicted, which is a terrible situation. Now, as the lender, we do have the legal right to repossess our collateral. Right? That's the whole point of a mortgage loan. A mortgage loan is collateralized by the physical real estate. So the bank, if you don't pay, gets to have the real estate. That's just the way it works. Okay. Now, but the thing is, I don't know about you. I'm not a big institution. I don't know about you as a human being, but first of all, I wouldn't want to be foreclosed on and evicted. Okay. Sucks. Okay. So from my standpoint, then I don't want to, as much as possible, I don't want to have to foreclose on people and evict them out of their houses. So one of the beautiful things we can do, guys, is called a loan modification. Okay. So loan modification is something we can do, obviously, to work with a borrower who's in a bad situation and allow them to stay in the house if they have the ability to begin paying again. Okay. So that's what I ended up doing for these folks, because he adamantly wanted to stay in his house. He didn't want to move, guys, and that's fair. He'd been there for like 13 years. He'd been doing improvements on the house for like 9 years. Poor guy broke his back twice at work. Not once, twice. Broke his back. Had to go out of town for surgery. His wife had to handle it. So there was a major reason, guys, valid, why this guy was almost 2 years behind on his mortgage payments, okay? There was a valid reason for it. So I felt bad. I felt bad for the gentleman's story about getting his back broken and having to go get back surgery and now being permanently disabled and out of work for good and all this other stuff. Now, the one thing that happened to him was he got put on permanent disability. Permanent disability allowed him to be able to afford to start paying his mortgage again because now he had steady income. Okay? So here's what I did, guys. And you tell me, how does this work for the homeowner? But how does this work for us as the investor? It might surprise you. So this was my eye-opening deal back in 2019 that sort of changed my perspective on non-performing notes and what could be done with them and why it's a pretty cool way to invest. So, talking fitness and finance, today we're talking non-performing notes, and we come here to work out and talk financial intelligence, 6:30, 8 a.m. Pacific time, live on YouTube. So if you want to exercise, great. If you're exercising, fantastic. And if you're just listening in, great. We're talking about non-performing notes and how cool of an investment they can be. So back to it, this guy wanted to stay in his house. A house in which now was upside down, meaning he owed the bank he owed me 115 grand. And his house was only worth 100 grand. So as the homeowner or the borrower, they were upside down, meaning their house was worth less than they owed to the bank. Now for me, how was it looking for me though? I was owed $115,000, essentially payoff balance on paper. And the house acting as my collateral was worth 100 grand. Okay. And I bought into this note for $37,000 and change. So we decided not to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. He didn't want to sign the house away and walk away because he wanted to stay. So cash for keys wasn't going to work. It wasn't a financial incentive that he needed to move away. He just didn't want to move away. Home was where his heart was, and he wanted to stay there. So we looked at a loan modification. So we have the power to do this, okay? As the lender, as the bank, we can do a modification. We can take late payments and stuff and stack them to the back of the loan. And there's all sort of different things we can do to help people with some sort of a modification of their existing terms. And so what I ended up doing on this deal was a loan modification. Because I wanted to work with him, he wanted to work with me, he wanted to stay there. And because he had been put on permanent disability, when you underwrote his ability to pay, he now had enough income per month by disability from breaking his back at work and all that, getting put on permanent disability. He had now had enough income when I underwrote his ability to pay that I was able to create a loan modification that would work and keep him in his house. So here's what we did, though. I want you guys to understand how this worked, and tell me if this is cool or not, okay? So the homeowner, remember, was upside down. The homeowner owed $115,000 to the bank. Excuse me, it was $114,000. He owed $114,000 to the bank, and the homeowner's house was only worth $100,000. So they're $14,000 upside down, meaning they owe the bank $14,000 more than what their house is worth, okay? And if you've ever owned a home or something like that, it's not a good feeling to be upside down, meaning you owe more on the house than the darn thing's worth. And so anyways, I decided to do a loan modification for this borrower. And here's what I decided to do because I felt for the man's story and his problems that he was going through. Here's what I decided to do. And he kind of chuckled a little bit with me about this. Is I said, man, you know, you owe the bank you owe me $114,000. And your house is only worth $100,000 and you're upside down. That's a bad feeling, you know? And he kind of snickered. It wasn't supposed to be that way. But he's now upside down. So I told him, look, what if I was able to do a loan modification for you and literally wipe $15,000 of that debt away as if it never existed? Because as the lender and as the bank, we have the power to do that with our pen, okay? Pretty neat position of responsibility to be in. So what I was able to do for this gentleman is a loan modification, and I brought his existing balance of his mortgage down from $114,000 down to $99,000. So if you're understanding those numbers, the reason why I brought this homeowner's mortgage balance down and wiped away $15,000 worth of debt he owed as if it never existed, which he was very happy about, as you could assume, it brought his numbers down to a position where he was no longer upside down. So you guys get why he snickered with me and why we kind of chuckled about that. I wiped off $15,000 worth of his debt because I had the power to do so with my pen. So I took what he owed from $114,000 down to $99,000. And he could start with a fresh $99,000 loan. $15,000 of his accrued debt wiped away as if it didn't exist because I had the power to do so with the pen. So pretty cool, right? Already he owes $15,000 less day one with this loan mod. I wiped away $15,000 worth of his debt. And you get why it's kind of humorous because he owed $114,000 on a house that was worth $100,000. So when I did the loan mod, he now owed $99,000 on a house that was worth $100,000. And we snickered a little bit because this homeowner's now not upside down anymore. His house was worth $1,000 more than what he owed. Point being made, he wasn't upside down, and it's a good feeling not to be upside down in a property, okay? So I know it's not that big of a deal, but to him it was, and you know, for us to be able to wipe away $15,000 worth of debt that somebody owes, because we have the power to do so with our pen, is a pretty darn cool thing to be able to do. So we wipe away $15,000 of this gentleman's debt as if it was never there. He now starts with a new loan at $99,000. He's not upside down. He owes the bank $99,000. His house is worth $100,000. So he now gets to stay in the house. Now, what I did was I did this $99,000 loan with a fresh 20-year amortized term, 20-year loan at 9.9% interest rate on that $99,000. What that ended up doing is it created a monthly mortgage payment of $948 per month. Because he was on permanent disability, because he could now afford this, because I did underwrite the gentleman to find out what kind of a loan mod could they afford, if any, okay? So found out he could afford something around $1,000 a month. So that's what I did, is I put together 3 different loan modifications for him to look at, and he could pick which one, but he picked one. There was a $99,000 balance, 9.9% interest, created a monthly mortgage payment of $948 a month, okay? So we start there. We bought a non-performing note. We spent the time to work it out, deal with the borrower, do a loan modification, change the paperwork, do all sort of different things, and that's where the skill, the knowledge, and the time and energy comes into play. So we did all that. Well, homeowner's on permanent disability now, so he can pay, so I start collecting this mortgage payment every month of $948 a month. Remember, I only invested $37,000 in change into this asset. So here's really what happened at the end result, to give you guys the whole summary of it. And then maybe if you've been sticking along with me, you might have some questions about it. So I did a $99,000 loan mod, 20-year term, 9.9% interest rate. Mortgage payment monthly was $948 a month.
starting fresh. They're not delinquent anymore. They're not at risk of being foreclosed upon or anything like that. That all goes away. They get to stay in their house. Everything's working out for this homeowner, okay? And so because I did that, they were pretty religious about making their mortgage payment. So here's what happened, guys. Here's what happened. I invested $37,000 in change into this asset. I then did that loan modification for the borrower, and I started collecting this monthly mortgage payment now of $948 a month. So I'm collecting near to $1,000 a month in passive cash flow from a $37,000 investment, okay? Now, what happened was I collected that $948 per month for about like 3 years straight. It was actually like 39 months, I believe. So I collect 39 monthly payments of $948. Do the math with just the cash flow collected. Remember, I only invested $37,000 in change to buy this asset. I collected $948 per month passive cash flow for 39 months straight, a little over 3 years. So do the math. How much money did I collect? By owning this asset, doing the loan mod, how much money did I collect in just monthly payment cash flow over the 39 months? What's $948 times 39? Anybody got a calculator? And the only reason I'm wanting you guys to do this is because you'll have a wow moment. So I invested $37,000 in change. I collect 39 monthly payments of $948. Do the math. You'll be surprised, okay? Now, here's the thing. That word amortization is good for the bank. It's not good for us as the borrowers. Yeah, Andy, $36,972. So remember, guys, I invest $37,000 in change into this asset. Over the 39 months that I'm just hanging on to it, they're paying their mortgage payment of $948 on time. I collected $36,972 in cash flow over those 39 months. Okay. Now, what happened is I had received a payoff request from the borrower because these guys were literally going to sell their house now 3 years or so after I did a loan modification for them when they were about to be foreclosed on, right? But they paid their mortgage on time for those 3 years now. They didn't get foreclosed upon. They stayed in the house. And their house had gone up in value from $100,000 to $165,000 during those 3 years, from 2021 to 2025. During those 3 years, their house had gone up in value, and now they had tons of equity. But here's the thing. The amortization word is a scary word, not for the bank, but for the borrower. So let's look at how this worked out for both parties. I'm talking about my end here, our end as the investor now, but invested $37,000 and change. Collected 39 monthly payments of $948, passive cash flow of almost $1,000 a month coming in, to the tune of $36,972. But when they asked for a payoff request, it means they're asking the bank to show how much do they owe if they wanted to pay off their mortgage completely. Like, I'm going to sell my house, but when I sell my house, how much am I going to have to pay you guys off? How much do I owe you? What's my total payoff balance? Okay. So here's what's wild about amortization. Although that homeowner had paid me $36,972 over those 39 months by way of making that monthly mortgage payment, the balance that they owed on their mortgage had only gone down from $99,000, where it began, down to $93,400. So I want you guys to soak that in for a second. Because these mortgage loans are amortized, it means that when someone starts making the very first payments on their freshly originated mortgage, it's all interest. They're not really paying off any of their principal or what they actually owe to the bank. So we invested $37,000 and change. We did this loan modification, which created a $948 a month mortgage payment for 20 years. We held on to the note. That person paid their mortgage payment religiously, so we collected passive cash flow for 39 months to the tune of $36,700. But although that homeowner paid $36,700 throughout the 39 months, the balance on their mortgage had only gone down from $99,000 to $93,000, okay? They still owed me $93,000. They intended to sell the house in Michigan and move to Florida. I said, congratulations. So what ended up happening, guys? For me, I invested in a non-performing note, got it at a deep discount because it was in trouble and needed work. So I bought a non-performing note that was hairy, dirty, like they say in the marketplace. But I was willing to, myself and my team was willing to do whatever it took and put the time and effort in and do the work to work it out. So we bought this non-performing note, $37,000 in change. They were way behind. They owed a ton of money, and so there was some opportunity there. I knew we had some wiggle room to do a couple different things, whether it was deed in lieu, cash for keys, whether we had to do a judicial foreclosure, or here we go, maybe a loan modification to really help someone. So we did the loan modification. They paid $36,972 over those 39 months, and their balance of their mortgage had only gone down from $99,000 down to $93,000. So if they sell their house, they got to pay me $93,000, which is exactly what happened. Is exactly what happened. And they did move to Florida, and they're stoked. So what ended up happening, guys, is I put in 37 grand on this non-performing note deal. I collected 39 payments of $948, which is $36,972 is what I collected. Passive cash flow while holding on to this asset. And then after those 39 months, the family sold the house. They now had equity in a better position for themselves. So they sold the house, pocketed the equity, cash in their hand, and bounced. Went from Michigan to Florida to retire and chill in the sunshine and the warmth. I got paid off that $93,000 in change then. So just think of those numbers, guys, and think of the scenario as a whole. Me winning big time. That homeowner and his family winning big time. Everybody won here, okay? And I was able to help someone, help a family, and their life was much better because of me jumping in and helping them at that time in their lives. And for me, I made a mint, right? It's about a 50% return per year is what I made on my money there. That's outlandish. So $37,000 investment earned me $36,900 in cash flow, plus then I got paid $93,000 at payoff. So understand that, guys. And with this homeowner, he was about to be foreclosed on. He's about to be booted out of the property. He had no equity. He had no plan. He was just on permanent disability from having a broken back and back surgery. All this stuff, guys, was going on, and I helped that family too, didn't I? Helped him stay in the house, helped him get back on track, relieved some of the debt that he owed because I could with my pen, got him a mortgage payment monthly that was affordable because I re-underwrote the borrower to make sure how much money can you really afford per month if I do a loan mod, man. I don't want to put him in a bad situation again with what they call a predatory loan. I want to give him something he can afford, right? I'm trying to help this family out. So we came to this conclusion. We did this loan mod for them. And what happened for them, which is the cool thing, right? Yeah, for the greedy part of it, I made a shitload of money. This is like a home run asset. We crushed it on this one, right? But what about them? They got to stay in the house. For the 39 months that they stayed in the house because I did that mod and kept them there and helped them out, during the 39 months that they were making the mortgage payment on time every month, their house went up from 100 grand in value up to about 165 grand in value, if I remember correctly. So the value of their home went way, way, way up while they were paying their mortgage payment over those 39 months. And now they owed the bank $93,000 and their house was worth $165,000. Now that family and the homeowner had now equity. You see? They avoided a foreclosure, kept their credit as good as it was. They got to stay in the house. They got to enjoy the growth of value of that house over those 39 months from 100 grand up to 165 grand. Now they had equity. They were able to sell the house, pocket a bunch of money, move to Florida to retire, happy. They were so stoked, and all because we as the note investor were willing to do a little bit more work with them than perhaps maybe a financial institution would. They're not just a number to us. So it's something to where we have a ton of options as the note investor when we buy these non-performing notes. We have so many options to help people that maybe a larger institution wouldn't take the time to try to do. Larger institution maybe just go straight to foreclosure. Just hire the foreclosure attorney. You're going to start getting those nasty letters in the mail and your butt's going to be foreclosed on unless you pay up. That's kind of how it goes generally, guys. And we're just a number to them. So I was able to help the family, help the gentleman, better their lives, get them out of a bad situation, get them to where 3-4 years later, they were able to really better their lives, sell their property, pocket some cash, pay off some debt, move to Florida. Super, super happy. So I was able to help them. Yeah, we don't do those bad drugs here, man. It could be the creatine, though. You know, if you put them on the countertop next to each other, you may not tell the difference. Could be the creatine. So, guys, I mean, I hope that explains a little bit about non-performing notes. I hope you guys kind of understand that. You can buy notes that are performing just for the cash flow and all that, but you can also go out into the secondary mortgage market. You could target trying to purchase non-performing notes. There are people all over that sell non-performing notes because of the unknown, because of the extra time and effort, because of the work, because maybe they don't want to foreclose on a family, because whatever, it doesn't matter. They're going to sell the note. And if you're in place to buy it with your own money or leveraging other people's money, it's a good deal, right? Because even if I would have had a financial partner, let's say I didn't have the $37,000 and change to buy that note when it was available. Let's say I went to a lending partner or a financial partner, a friend or family member, and I said, hey, why don't you joint venture with me? Or why don't we do this together? I know how to do it. I know how to manage it. I have the skills. I can buy this thing. We can do all these options. It'll be profitable. Let's do it together. I don't have the 37 grand. Maybe there's an investor out there that has 37 grand that would look at this opportunity and go, man, I'll fund that. Maybe you could split it 50-50. Okay? But the point is, it still would have been a major, major winner. A good thing for that homeowner. You helped a family out, and you and your partner, your money partner, would have made a mint on this thing, and your money partner would be extremely excited they did this investment with you, okay? So that's like just my little spiel on non-performing notes today, and specifically on what I like to call the Michigan moneymaker, because that note that I bought in Michigan sure was a moneymaker. But also we helped a homeowner, you know, we helped a family out. So it's a win-win situation there. So what do you think about that, you guys? What do you think about being able to buy non-performing notes and having the knowledge, the skills, and the ability to help a homeowner out and work it out? And end all be all, still have legal recourse to foreclose if you have to. You can foreclose and get the house anyways. But isn't it cool how we can like try to help homeowners and do things maybe that financial institutions wouldn't take the time to try to do? They're not just a number to us. It's a family living there. And yeah, this is a money-making space, but it's also a space in which you have great responsibility to help people that owe money on a mortgage. So we have Note Investor University teaches all this. So down in the description of this video, if you did want to get some education on this and become a note investor, you certainly could go check it out. Note Investor University is down in the description of this video. There's a link down there. Sometimes people just want to get on my calendar because they're like, man, I heard you talking about this and that, and I just have questions. Well, that's cool. I'm available. My calendar link's down there in the description too. And I love talking to people about this stuff because learning how to buy these mortgage notes rather than stack a whole bunch more rental properties has changed my life. So I like to change other people's lives when I can. We are here 6:30 to 8 a.m., Monday through Friday, and it's fitness and finance. So we get each other in better shape. We help each other strive for better health, and we talk about how we can become more financially free. And in the example I've just shared with you today, in this non-performing note example, you see that it is a great way to make money, yes, but also this great way to make money can carry a lot of wonderful responsibility with it, as it should be. So if we're ethical people, and if these homeowners, these homeowners that are having problems paying their mortgage and things like that, if they're not just a number to us, guys, and we really pay attention, we can really do some good. So helping families avoid foreclosure feels better than foreclosing on a family. Am I right or am I wrong? So it feels good to help a family avoid foreclosure. It feels good to save people's lives when they're headed down the wrong path, and you can switch that up for them because you have the power to do so with great responsibility. You can wipe away debt with the power of your pen that people owe you. Interestingly enough, if you're a mortgage note owner, you would never do this, but you do have the power to completely wipe away someone's mortgage debt and have them own their house outright. You could do that. Literally sign a paper and say, they don't owe me money no more. Boom. That can happen. But you wouldn't do that, of course, if you're a wise investor. But a lot of power and a lot of responsibility, but a lot of money to be made. So if you think about it, let's give this analogy real quick. If you think about it, let's compare the note investing space with the house flipping space. Very good analogy with this specific case study that we just spoke about. I, as a house flipper, would want to go out and try to find a house that has problems. House flipper that can fix up a house that has big problems usually makes the most amount of money because it's the time, the effort, the skill, the knowledge of how to fix these problems. You know, roof problems, cracked foundation, leaky pipe, who knows what, right? You buy a dilapidated house. So you're looking for a house as a house flipper that has issues. And you're hoping that you have the skills, the time, the energy, the know-how to be able to go in there and fix these issues up. And the more issues it has, the better price you're going to get that piece of junk house for. The more skills you have and knowledge of going in to fix that house up nicely is going to make it worth as much as it can be. So an expert house flipper is certainly not going out to neighborhoods and looking for a house that has just been remodeled. Makes no sense. Perfect shape, right? No. A house flipper wants to go out there and find a distressed property that has problems they can fix. In that case, there's more profit to be made. So anyways, just a thought process, guys, in the mortgage note space. You understand? I'm never going to have to go and get a hammer and install moldings and rip out moldy carpet or do any of that stuff, right? Because we're in the paper side of the business. But in that thought process, then can't we go out to the secondary mortgage market and can't we try to concentrate and focus on buying mortgages that are distressed? Mortgages that have some problems, need some fixing up. You can get them at a far better price. And if you know how to go in there and fix them up, like with deed in lieu, cash for keys, loan modifications, forbearances, all these things that are mortgage, language, then there's immense amount of money to be made because you're fixing something up that's damaged, dilapidated, and you're making it nice and fresh and new and pretty again. So anyways, that's just an analogy that get you guys to understand is that we're not flipping houses, we're flipping paper. We're not having to swing hammers, we're having to use our pen. We're not having to go to Home Depot to get materials, we're having to maybe get something recorded in county record office. So anyways, that's why we do notes. If you guys have any questions here, I know we got some people on. Questions about non-performing notes, questions about how to get into it, questions about coaching, questions about it, or maybe you just don't really quite understand what the hell I was just talking about. But you're okay to put some questions in the comments. We're just doing some light legs, guys. I pulled my quad a little bit playing pickleball last night. Really light legs, just getting moving, getting the blood flow. Don't want to skip leg day even if you can't put your all into it, but that's kind of how non-performing notes work, you guys. A wonderful asset class mortgage notes are, but you can buy those performing notes where you're buying perfect payers and you're just buying them to put them in the portfolio for cash flow. Or you can buy non-performing notes. Kind of like buying a dilapidated house as a house flipper. I can buy a non-performing note that has some problems and I can fix those problems and make that asset worth a lot more and very profitable. But 50% return per year for almost 4 years is a pretty good return on any investment. And that was my eye-opener where I thought, oh, okay, so I might put this in the cards to buy performing notes for cash flow and stability. And I might put it in there to buy non-performing notes because you can make a heck of a lot of money and you can help more people avoid foreclosures and all those good things. Oops, get my coffee here. So beautiful stuff, right, guys? Beautiful stuff. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Maxime, Javon, you're welcome for what I do. But you can buy non-performing notes. It's riskier. It does take more skill, more effort, more knowledge, more workout time. But that's what makes you the more money, right? Just like we said, a house flipper has to have some immense skills to fix nasty problems in order to make really good money as a house flipper. We can do the same thing in the note space. Same thing in the note space. Let's buy non-performing notes, help homeowners, do loan mods, help people avoid foreclosure, help their family, Let's do all sort of things to help people that aren't just a number to us, like they would be to Wells Fargo or Bank of America. And then we can make an immense amount of money in a much more passive manner, right, guys? So in the note space, it's paperwork. In the note space, it's paperwork done from a desk generally. Okay? NJ, peace out. But good stuff, guys. I suppose if there's I feel like flipping a house would be fun, but I've never flipped one, so I assume it's a bigger headache than I realize. Well, of course, Bethany says probably, NJ, have a good day at work. Bethany says, might be fun flipping a house. Bethany's obviously never been in construction. I was in the home remodeling business for years and years, doing roofing, kitchen, solar, yard improvements, bathroom remodels, you name it, you name it. It is a pain in the rear end, let me tell you something. And you know, if you could do it yourself, it's a real pain in the rear because you're doing all the work, which most people don't want to do. And you know what's even more of a pain in the butt? Trying to manage construction people, residential construction people. Oh, better you than me. Do you know how to speak Spanish, Bethany? Here in San Diego, you better know how to speak Spanish if you're going to flip a house. And no joke either. But it's just hard to get trustworthy workers, man. It's hard to find people that are really good at what they do and that'll work good and hard for you and that you can communicate with. It'll show up on time, not be on drugs. I mean, come on. It's tough. We used to go through contractors and workers at the remodeling company like crazy, right? Everybody's a painter. Everybody's a painter. Everybody's a roofer, okay? Most with some sort of a prison record. No offense, I'm just kidding around here, but straight up. So it's hard to do that. House flipping is a special skill. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Do you do house flipping as your special skill? Is that the way you want to make your money? Or maybe you can get into the note space and not have to deal with the crews and not have to manage the people showing up on time and doing good work and all that good stuff because, man, house flipping is tough. Notes, not so much. Bethany says, I've seen my dad flip houses and he's had piping stolen, appliances stolen. Now he only buys notes. Exactly. Exactly. So Pops wised up, right? And Pops wised up. Pops has been in the game too long to deal with the BS anymore, guys. Sometimes this is what happens when people mature. So this mortgage note game, and do this. This mortgage note game that we play is a banker's game. So it doesn't seem sexy, you know, like construction, like building apartments in Florida like we're doing. Like when you tell people you're building an apartment building, it sounds more sexy to them when you're building an apartment building. Wow. Well, when we're talking about this banker's game and buying mortgage notes, to some people it seems kind of boring. And it can be. But when people get older and mature and they've been through the house flips, and they've been through the landlording hassles and issues and all those good things, oftentimes they understand the beauty of passivity. They understand the beauty of boring and safe. But the younger generation these days is down to invest in meme coins and try to hit it big and make 500x on something, but always get wrecked and lose their money. Older, wiser individuals must sometimes say, hey, collateralized contracts with passive cash flow are the bee's knees. And it sounds like that's what your dad's done. It's hard to do leg day after you had a night of pickleball. Let me tell you something. All right, guys. Well, rather than keep on talking your ear off on this subject, I'm going to actually finish legs without having you guys just sit here and watch me do reps. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. Understanding that in the mortgage note investing space, you can buy non-performing mortgage notes, just like a house flipper would go out and try to find a very dilapidated home. The more dilapidated the home and the better skills that house flipper has to fix all those problems and get that house back on the market pretty, that's when they make the most amount of money. So in this note investing space, we can buy perfect peaches, performing notes, great pay history, everything's clean and good. And we can buy those performing notes just to put them in the portfolio and assume that they're going to continue paying. And we have this wonderful, wonderful stream of passive monthly cash flow. That's kind of the lure behind notes. But in the non-performing notes, you can get in there and get your hands dirty and make a lot more money, buy these notes at far more discounts, and do some creative things for the homeowners, guys, to be able to help people that maybe normally a financial institution would not be willing to take the time to help. So that's going to be it for today, guys. It's a wrap, but I will be back tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 a.m., and we'll have a new subject to talk about, mostly financial intelligence or fitness. One of these times I'm going to bring talks about fitness because it's not only good to get yourself in great financial shape, but it's also good to get yourself in good physical shape. One without the other can be troublesome. So, fantastic meeting with you guys today. I'm going to continue and knock out my leg workout where you guys don't just have to sit here and watch me do my reps. But hopefully this helped. The idea is you can buy performers and you can buy non-performers. This is the mortgage note space where you buy the assets at a discount, and the knowledge and the skills necessary to be able to work through problems with these borrowers is very important. You can make more money that way, and you can help people. You can help homeowners. You can help people avoid foreclosure and bad situations in their lives. And so making things a win-win situation, making things very profitable, and doing it all from your computer and not having to lift a hammer. So anyway, guys, that's non-performing notes. This is Patrick here. And as you guys know, 6:30 to 8 a.m., I'm going to be here. All my links are down in the description of this video. If you want to check out Note Investor University, where we teach people how to be note investors. If you want to check out our fund, it's Everly Mae Capital Group, where people invest with us rather than have to do it all themselves. They want to rely on being very, very passive. That's Everly Mae. And my calendar link's down there too. If you just want to chat, you have questions about note investing or anything like that, you can get on my calendar and we can have a chat. And the Cash Flow Conference at Sea. Let me just remind y'all again, the Cash Flow Conference at Sea is April 10th through the 15th to Cabo San Lucas. And also there's a link to it down in the description as well. So check out the Cabo San Lucas cruise if you guys want to go on a cruise to Cabo, 5-day cruise to Cabo, but it's an investment conference at sea. So there's going to be land and notes and apartment development and fund investing and all this great stuff, IRA, 401k accounts, trusts and life insurance, and really how to build wealth and how to keep wealth for your family is going to be there on the Cash Flow Conference at Sea boat cruise to Cabo San Lucas, April 10th through the 15th. And that is there down in the description as well, guys. So hopefully, guys, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow if it will let me end my video, which it just doesn't seem to do anymore. It doesn't want me to end this video. So I'm going to end it the old-fashioned way, and we're going to mess everything up. But, guys, I wish you the best. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, we're going to be right back here, and tomorrow we're going to be working some traps, shoulders, biceps, and doing some pulling exercises tomorrow. So if you're into doing a workout with me, I'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time right here live, and we can work out together. We can support each other in getting in the best shape physically as we possibly can. And then I'll bring a new subject, and we'll talk about financial intelligence tomorrow. We'll bust out some Q&A, and hopefully I can give you guys some nuggets on how you can become more physically fit or more financially fit. All right, guys? We will